Hey guys, Saiyan here, bringing on Dragon Ball Z Dokkan Battle video. And so I made this tweet earlier this morning as we did not get any news or update or teaser or anything today. I didn't think we would, obviously being Monday, the start of the week. We are expecting the banner to release for the next Dokkan Fest at the end of this week, which should be Friday because we've got maintenance on Thursday. Unless the banner's just up right after the maintenance ends, but I think with the Kai banner in-game, which has been a good indicator lately for when new banners are going to come out, it should be the morning of the 29th. So I'm expecting the earliest that we'll see the teaser or like some sort of tweet or something like that with details will be Wednesday, but I guess we will have to wait and see. But in the meantime, since we didn't get any information today, I decided to make this tweet because obviously I've talked about my ideas. I did a video talking about a possibility of a Sparking Zero collab with Gohan Black. I did a video talking about a Xenoverse collab and some of the potential things we could see from that. So I thought it'd be interesting to get an idea from you guys what you want to see as the next Dokkan Fest. Obviously I put in the tweet here, crossover, Buu Saga. Like Buu Saga's one that a couple of people threw out because apparently there's a mission for... I can't even remember what it's for now. Is it one of the Porunga Dragon Balls or something? There's the mission that's like in the game at the moment for Buu Saga. And I really can't remember what it's for now. But yeah, someone said there's a mission. Minato mentioned it on the podcast and I've just completely blanked on what it was. But somebody said Buu Saga because of that. Obviously, it could be anything, right? Because there's been speculation that it's going to be crossover. I think largely because 21 last year was in that time slot and it was a crossover Dokkan Fest after Heroes, which kind of makes sense and gives some more options for running those units on. Obviously with Xenoverse getting big DLC, Sparking Zero being out, like it's just one of those things that would make sense to happen, but it's not necessarily going to happen. Like it could be literally anything. Like imagine it's going to be like suddenly just a random like Saiyan saga, like it literally could be anything, right? So I thought I'd put out this tweet. What do you guys most want to see? Let me know and we will go through the usual community response. So I've got a bunch of replies here to the tweet. Obviously I try and get these up early enough in the day so that then I can get all my recording done by a fairly reasonable time. So of course if you are watching this video to see some of the other takes and you see that your reply did not make it in, chances are I recorded the video before you replied to the thread. So do go ahead and let me know if you did reply late or your reply doesn't make it into the video. Just go ahead and let me know down below in the comment section who you would most like to see as the upcoming Dokkan Fest. So we're going to go through the replies. I will remember, I have the quotes up on a separate page as well. Somebody was, someone who obviously quote tweeted the post rather than replying to it last time, commented on the video, very unhappy that I didn't look at the quote tweets, which I don't normally do. Like I make these tweets for the purpose of going through and reading the replies, right? So I actually didn't even think to look at the quote tweets last time. So I will remember to do that. But yeah, if you didn't see the tweet or you don't use Twitter or you replied too late and it was after I recorded the video, whatever reason, and your character you want to see isn't in the video, or even if it is, just let me know who you want to see in the comment section. So yeah, we'll just start scrolling down and see how we get on. So we got a reply from Dokkan Assets. This was fairly quickly after I posted the thing, so I replied straight away. But obviously he put a gif of Gohan Black. This is what I said, probably my most wanted. In terms of what I think is realistic, this is probably one of the things that I most want to see. I think it would just be really cool to have Gohan Black in the game. Ever since Goku Black was first introduced into the series, people had speculated and like well, not speculated I guess, because we didn't think that was going to happen as well, but people tossed around the idea, made fan art and all sorts of stuff, right, of a Gohan Black instead, which I always thought was quite interesting. So the Sparking Zero what if like campaign thing where you actually fight against him was really cool. So that's just something that would be, I think, very cool to have in Dokkan as a crossover Dokkan Fest. So this is definitely high up there in terms of what I think will happen. As you can see, I replied to Theo saying probably my most wanted other than a new Mars Saiyan of some variety, because you guys know if we're talking crossover, Mars Saiyan definitely would be a top choice for me. I've talked about a card for years now based on one of the animations from one of the old Heroes promotional cutscenes of a Xeno Bardock that puts on the broken Timebreaker mask and transforms into Super Saiyan 3 Mars Saiyan. That's probably still like one of my most wanted cards in the game, but it's not something that I realistically expect that we will see. I was going to say anytime soon, but honestly, I realistically expect we'll ever see. But obviously, if it was up to me and I could have any crossover card I wanted, I think that would probably be one of the top picks, right? Very on brand for me and for the channel. But yeah, I don't think we will be seeing a Mars Saiyan card. So Gohan Black in terms of crossover, big release with Sparking, I think that would be pretty cool. So then we have Minato here. Again, this is going back to like the Buu Saga, fusing Gotenks. Now, fusing Gotenks would be really interesting because obviously, like, we've got plenty of Goku and Vegeta units in the game that fuse. We've even got the tech, Kale and Caulifla that fuse into Kefla, which I assume they must be due an EZA at some point fairly soon. But yeah, we don't actually have a Goten and Trunks card that fuse into Gotenks, which is kind of crazy, I guess, that we got the Kefla one before we ever got a Gotenks one. So that is definitely something that I think that we could see and would obviously be quite fun. Buu Saga buffs will be interesting because there's a lot of Buu Saga character EZAs that would still be very, very good for buffing that team. So, I mean, I'm definitely not opposed to Buu Saga as much as I want there to be more crossover buffs, but Buu Saga definitely could be something very, very cool that we could get as well. So fusing Gotenks definitely interesting. Jack Games, Gohan Black or Xeno Trunks could be cool, or another Mars Saiyan. Yep, see, speaking my language. Supreme Kai of Time could be interesting. Personally, I want a Mira and Toa. Yeah, Mira and Toa, like dual card that then transform into Super Mira, I think would be quite cool. But I mean, we haven't really seen any Xenoverse. I think the idea of getting a new Mira and Toa card, I think if they were going to do something that is almost like very specifically tied to Xenoverse, which I guess kind of is for Mira and Toa, we would probably see something from the new DLCs instead, like the video I made the other day about the Ultra Super Villain thing. But either way, that would be pretty cool. We talked about it on stream, right? It goes way back to like Xenoverse 2 and even his Dokkan event when he came out, the Mars Saiyan. Imagine we get like a Mira and Toa joined forces card. They have a standby where, like, kind of like Oob taking over for Goku, they standby into Mars Saiyan, and then after the standby ends, they transform into the Super Mirror. Like that, I think would be very, very cool. But again, something that would be like super awesome, I think, as like a really cool Xenoverse crossover, but not really something that I'm necessarily expecting that we actually will see. It's just something that would be would definitely be pretty cool to get, especially from like an old school Xenoverse fan like perspective, but not something I think we would necessarily actually get. If they're going to do some sort of crossover with Xenoverse, like I say, I would expect it to be more likely to be one of the newer things like Ultra Super Villain or something like that. So, but I guess we will have to wait and see. Mega Nice, the single summon Agenda Menace, Mr. Popo. I don't know about this guy as a Dokkan Fest. He has a lot of cool moves from his fight against Goku, so it's eating the Kamehameha or predicting Goku's moves and punching him in the face. I mean, I think the problem is as well, like, obviously, I know it's based on, like, genies from other, like, mythology and stuff, but I think there's the issue with Popo nowadays, I think we don't really need to go into, but I don't know whether we would ever see a Dokkan Fest, or he doesn't even have a single unit, right? Like, he doesn't have an SR or anything, so I'm really not sure, but I definitely don't think he is like a character that is hype enough to be like a big Dokkan Fest that people would be super interested in. But let me know what you guys think down below. Blaze the Dragon crossover. Yeah, crossover. A lot of people want to see crossover. Gohan Black, Dokkan Fest. Iron Kane with the Leonardo DiCaprio point. I can only assume that it's because I assumed that this was from I assumed that this was from Xenoverse, so I can only assume that this is because that Xeno Trunks thing is actually from Breakers, I guess. Is that why he's commented that? I don't actually know for sure, but I guess that would be kind of funny. But yeah, let me know if you guys know down below in the comments. But yeah, then we have our boy Prof. So we got the Ozoto, who's like the final boss of Heroes when they changed over to the, in the promotional anime, when they changed over to like the weird PS2 CG graphics thing, which I know a lot of people weren't a big fan of, myself included. That was like the final arc, was with this guy as the main villain. And I know a lot of people weren't huge fans of that. So it's a character that I know a lot of people, I guess, wouldn't necessarily be super hyped about. But obviously he is in the Heroes manga as well. So it's would be interesting. We know there's not going to be any more Heroes celebrations, but this is the main thing that we don't know, is that going forwards from now, as far as we know, there could be no more dedicated Heroes celebrations, but they could have come to some sort of arrangement to be able to use actual Heroes cards at any time, or any Heroes characters, I should say, at any time, right? And so we could actually see, like, randomly a Heroes Dokkan Fest, which I think would definitely be very cool. Not much of a surprise to you guys, I'm sure, that I would be excited for a Heroes Dokkan Fest, but it is what it is. So then, of course, we have Super Saiyan 3 Xeno Trunks. I did talk about, when I talked about the Xenoverse crossover yesterday, a new Xeno Trunks would be pretty cool. Having him go from like Super Saiyan to Super Saiyan 3. Not only because I love Super Saiyan 3 as a form, but obviously it gives him a bunch of extra categories as well, including things like Power Beyond Super Saiyan. So I think that would definitely be cool. More Super Saiyan 3 buffs is something that I am definitely always up for when it comes to Dokkan. Used to be one of my favorite categories in the game, but obviously it's a category that doesn't really get buffed very often. So is a category that, as of right now, I think the most optimal Super Saiyan 3 team is probably not really that great, but it is what it is. So Super Saiyan 3 buffs would definitely be much appreciated. And then last but not least, Gohan Black. Obviously, again, a lot of people really want to see... There's almost going to be one of those situations where I think once the idea was put out there by whoever did like come up with it as a suggestion first, once the idea got put out there about, imagine if they did a crossover with Sparking and we got a Gohan Black Dokkan Fest, I think loads of people are really excited for the idea of that actually being a thing. Almost to the point where it's going to become one of those things now where if it isn't him, there's going to be a bunch of people that are disappointed, I think. Because in terms of doing a crossover with an actual, like, you know, a proper game crossover, like how 21 is from Fighters, something like crossing over with Sparking and doing a Gohan Black would obviously be, I think, very, very cool and, like, very timely considering. I mean, the game's been out for a little while now, but I think it's something that would, like, make a lot of sense, right? So definitely very interesting to see. And then obviously he says, besides what I want, besides the Heroes Dokkan Fest, because Prof and I are in the same boat pushing that Heroes agenda. So I guess we'll see. So we have Ed Boy. It's not a fun crossover unit. Transforming Garlic Jr. Oh, if it's not a fun crossover unit. Transforming Garlic Jr. I'm loving Slug's team. Hopefully it would also EZA support Garlic Jr., who's an amazing Slug partner. Yeah, we talked about this in terms of like who would EZA for the Slug celebration, and that Garlic Jr. would have been a really, really good option for having more support on the Slug team. So if we did get a Dokkan Fest Garlic Jr., that would obviously be the perfect time for them to actually EZA that int one, and then that team obviously could be really, really good. Those guys would be massive buffs for the Slug team. Slug would probably be on his team as well, depending on what leader skill they actually give him. But yeah, a transforming Garlic Jr. could be interesting. Because Garlic Jr., that int one is like the Broly that we got for Saiyan Day, where the SSR is this like young version, and then the TUR just awakens into the giant buff one. So obviously the Dokkan Fest could just be essentially both of those put together. So I think that could work very well as well. So yeah, Garlic Jr. definitely brings along with it some of those interesting EZAs and everything. So that would be very cool as well. I think it's going to be crossover, seen a lot of speculation. Yeah, this is the thing, like a lot of people have speculated it. I think that's made people, I guess, want it more the more it gets talked about. So crossover is like a big thing that people are expecting, but I guess realistically we don't have any actual like reason to really suspect there will be a crossover Dokkan Fest other than, you know, 21 being a crossover Dokkan Fest after Heroes last year. But I think it would be really cool for it to be crossover, especially if it's extreme. We talked about how like we didn't get an extreme 200% heroes leader for this year, so having that I think would be very, very cool. But obviously we'll have to wait and see. So we have a reply here from DB7 Dokkan. This is, yeah, the Blue Vegeta versus Rose. So so then we have Elfcon, Trunks and Goten. Yeah, obviously they don't mention it here, but like a fusing Trunks and Goten would be really, really cool. As I said earlier when Minato mentioned it in the thread, I still think it's kind of crazy that we don't have one of those in the game yet. So I guess we will have to wait and see if one of those ever actually comes along. But with that speculation about Majin Buu Saga being a thing that could be on the table, then obviously that would be something that would be interesting to see as well. Only thing I'd spend stones on is a dope looking Super Saiyan 4 unit. I mean, yeah, Super Saiyan 4, big fan of Super Saiyan 4. One of the few things I like about GT. So a good Super Saiyan 4 Dokkan Fest is definitely something that I think a lot of people would be excited for. But I guess we'll have to see. You know, if they're not doing heroes or crossover stuff as these extra Dokkan Fests, unfortunately a new Super Saiyan 4 means it's pretty much only going to be either Goku, Vegeta or Gogeta. But it'd be quite cool to get a new Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta. We haven't had one for a while, because of course we got the Goku that transforms into full power for the Tanabata for last year, but we haven't had a new Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta since, like if we're talking standalone, since the 4th anniversary. Because obviously Super Saiyan 4 Vegeta is part of one of the 8-year anniversary LRs, but he's paired with base Goku, so obviously they're not on like Giant 8 power or anything like that. So that would be pretty cool. Funnily enough, directly underneath it, I skipped 10th anniversary. I really, for real, I want a new Gotenks or Dokkan Fest TN or Hercule that leads Earthlings. Maybe a Super Saiyan 4 buff. And there's this cursed Super Saiyan 4 TN fan art, which is certainly very interesting. I didn't expect to see this when scrolling through the thread, so there we go. Then we got Gogeta's there for the cope. So we got a Super Saiyan 2 Great Saiyaman. That's the Ultra Super Villain Rose that we talked about from Xenoverse. Limit Breaker, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Obviously everybody wanted him for heroes and it didn't materialize. We don't know that it's impossible necessarily, but I guess, yeah. And then a Buuhan. Definitely a new standalone Buuhan. Could be pretty good. And then cope for the Part 2 Carnival LR. Finally getting LR Kid Buu, maybe. But yeah, Super Saiyan 2 Great Saiyaman is definitely an interesting pick. I've always quite liked the Super Saiyan 2 Saiyaman, like in the black and green with like the Super Saiyan effect and everything. So that would be kind of cool. Then we have Sippin' Hot Cocoa says Buu Saga picks Super Saiyan 2 Great Saiyaman. Buu, South Supreme Kai Absorb, so like buff Buu, like Tech Broly and can become Kid Buu turn 1. Yeah, that would be good. A buff Buu that just transforms into Kid Buu. Although rip, if we get another TUR Kid Buu, it means we're certainly not going to be getting an LR Kid Buu for quite some time, if that were the case, but still, it'd be quite funny. Crossover picks, one of the Xenoverse Ultra Super Villain characters, yep, or Gohan Black, yep, very popular choices. Hype crossover unit, like Gohan Black into Fuse Zamasu. It's quite funny, because, yeah, the Fusion Zamasu that Gohan Black is part of has, like, Gohan's hair, but white, instead of, like, the classic Super Saiyan hair, but white, which is kind of an also cool, like, change for the like that saga, because it's not just Gohan Black, it's the fact the fusion looks slightly different as well. Maybe there will be something less hype like Android. I mean, they wouldn't do Android 21 again, right, 2 years in a row. So I'd like to see the new Dokkan Fest be a villain, so like Buuhan, because he deserves to be a Dokkan Fest, and then the Super Easy A for Int Buuhan. That's the only problem with getting a standalone Buuhan, though, is then if they Easy A, or Super Easy A, I should say, Int Buuhan, then obviously they're on, you know, they've got the same name, so then we run into difficulties with the team building by having the characters with the same name. But obviously any kind of new Buu means that we could potentially get the Int Buuhan Super Easy A, which would definitely be cool. But obviously if we got a new Buuhan, then they would share the same name, so that would be a little bit awkward. We don't like it when they do that in celebrations, right? Like bringing out the STR Dragon Fist Goku and then Easy A-ing Super Saiyan 3 Goku, and then it's like, if you want to run them on the same team, like Dragon Fist Goku wasn't a slot 1, so even if you're floating LR Super Saiyan 3 Goku, like if they end up next to each other, they don't link. So releasing a character with the same name as then a character that's going to get the big like Easy A or Super Easy A is not something that I'm usually a fan of, just because of how it affects like the team building. But a new Buhan would still be cool either way, right? Smartest choice would be you-know-who from Sparking Zero. I mean, I think we know exactly who that is, mentioned many times. If it had to be any other crossover, I would hope for Shallot. I mean, yeah, that is something that people have wanted and people have talked about pretty much ever since, like, Legends came out, right? Is having a crossover and having Shallot in Dokkan. So I'm definitely not opposed to it. Like, I tried out Legends when it first came out, wasn't a huge fan of the gameplay, so it's not a game that I stuck with or have really followed or made content on or anything like that. I don't play it like off channel or like follow any of the updates really. But yeah, even with that being the case, it would be quite a cool collab to have Shallot in Dokkan. Being a new, uniquely named Pure Saiyan character definitely could open up some interesting options for team building and stuff like that. So I would definitely be all for it. So I want Super Saiyan Goku. Well, Amatsu's in disguise spotted in the comments. Cell Saga representation, or even finally Garlic Jr. as a booster slug team. Underrated pick would be Xeno Trunks as a Dokkan Fest. Yep, got some potential. He'd be interesting. Last one on my pick would be a Dokkan Fest transformed Bojack. Yeah, we just got the normal EZA Bojack. It's interesting that they didn't EZA like the AGL full power one, so I guess they obviously could be saving that for when they do an actual new Bojack of some variety. So of course dropping a new Dokkan Fest Bojack gives them the opportunity to go ahead and do that, I guess. So yeah, a new Bojack is something that I could definitely be down for. EZA the Zanya, EZA the AGL full power Bojack. That could definitely be something that would be very cool, so we'll have to see. Watch it be Android Saga. Yeah, exactly. Could be something completely random. Something skippable. Now, that is the thing. I know a lot of people are probably going to be in that similar kind of boat where it's like, on the one hand, like, it would be cool listing all these crazy possibilities for things it could be, like a Gohan Black and all this other crazy stuff. But, like, I guess at this point in the year, especially for global players, you know, we know we've got a Carnival banner coming up in December. We've got the New Year Dual Dokkan Fest, and then the anniversary is not long after that. Ideally, yeah, something that you actually would be very comfortable with skipping and then not having to worry about spending any stones in this run up to all that other stuff that we know is coming out is probably not the worst idea, so that you don't have to worry about spending a whole bunch of stones, I guess. So yeah, that is a very good point. I want crossover Extreme 170 lead and then keep the crossover train rolling, so either Gohan Black or Ultra Super Villain Vegeta. Otherwise, nothing in particular. Yeah, a lot of love for the crossover stuff, especially Xenoverse or Sparking Zero collab. Again, Gohan Black. Being more GT or Buu Saga related, either Baby or a form of Buu. Yeah, Baby is one that does get brought up quite a lot, that obviously hasn't come up yet in this thread, but is a character that very often people like to what's the word I'm talking about? Speculate. Like to speculate for like what an upcoming Dokkan Fest is going to be. Because just like Lord Slug, who we finally then got, like Baby's one of those characters that does have like a really good link set, and obviously can just be very good for villain teams in general. So Baby would be a very good one. Probably one of these three. Baby, yeah, Garlic Jr., or Gohan Black. Forever Dokkan Android 18. Shout out to Bringer. Been a while since we've had like an Android Dokkan Fest. Think it's going to be a final form Frieza, so they can keep up the Super Saiyan theme for the Christmas LR. I mean, I guess it was only what, like, that's what it was last year, so it's not like we've got a running theme, right? That it's going to be always a Super Saiyan LR in the December spot. So I don't know, that would be interesting, because yeah, final form Frieza. But then I guess what if it's a final form Frieza, is the Christmas LR going to be like a new version of like Namek Goku, I guess, maybe. Not that that would necessarily be a bad thing, but yeah, I'm not sure. Dokkan Fest Caulifla, I know that is something that people want to see. Krillin Dokkan Fest, hey, shout out to the OG. The Krillin Dokkan Fest. I mean, with all the characters that we've gotten that have Dokkan Fests, I mean, Yamcha has one. Yamcha from the Saiyan saga specifically. So, not exactly like the hypest version of Yamcha has a Dokkan Fest. So, I mean, at this point, I think it's fair to say that Krillin probably deserves a Dokkan Fest at this point, right? So, That would be, I would be down for that. I mean, it's not something for me that I'd be like super hyped, like, oh my god, must summon. But think of when they make these character choices sometimes. I wouldn't be surprised we end up getting like a Dokkan Fest exclusive Krillin, and then he's like the best TUR in the game or something, right? Like, I genuinely wouldn't be surprised if they did something like that. So that is something that we certainly could see. Another Buhan, I think it's the same GIF. Super Saiyan 2 Great Saiyaman. Let's take a quick look at the quotes here as well. So we've got Annie, Great Saiyaman. This one is Gohan Black. I've already played the... Yeah. And then Aniraza, which is one that you don't really see get mentioned very much. It's not a character that I could say I have any care or hype about being a character. I'm not like the hugest fan of the Tournament of Power. Like, it has a lot of hype moments, but just so many random added characters that I really couldn't care less about. So like a Dokkan Fest Aniraza is definitely not a unit that I would be particularly hyped about, but let me know what you guys think down below in the comment section. And we have a Super Buu who absorbs Piccolo and Gotenks, and then part 2 LR Gotenks. No fusing, just give us standalone LRs, fair enough. Dokkan Fest Hercule, and then Carnival LR Goten and Trunks that fuse into Super Saiyan 3. I know a lot of Gotenks fans are disappointed that he has only recently been getting like TURs, especially side banner units, as opposed to getting like an LR or something, which obviously would be very cool to see, but who knows. And then we have, I thought at first this was just going to be a Super Saiyan Goku, but yeah, Super Kaioken Goku is definitely an interesting one, and I know is one that people have wanted to see for a while. It means we could finally get the EZAs for the physical one and the Pycon as well, so that would certainly be interesting. But yeah, those were the replies and the quote tweets for the thread that we had time to go through here. Like I say, if you didn't get your reply in time, you didn't see it in the video, do let me know down below in the comments. Obviously, if you don't use Twitter, obviously didn't see it, do let me know down below. But who do you guys think the Dokkan Fest will be? Will it be crossover? Is that just cope, or is it going to be something completely unrelated? Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. So that is going to be it for the video, guys. This has been the Mars Ningen. Smash that like button, subscribe to the channel if you are new. Check out the links down below, and I will see you all again soon. Have a good one.